I love it when I find a cool tool that will save you money. If you are a fan of the rotary cutter, you probably know that rotary cutting blades are expensive. I think I bought the 5-pack of Ofla rotary cutter blades at Joann's the last time I had a coupon, and even with the 40% off coupon, it still cost me almost $20 for 5 blades. And if you're like me, with all sorts of hazards on your cutting table, like pins or rulers or things that are underneath your fabric, and you hack up your blade on a regular basis like I do, you can blow through 5 rotary cutter blades pretty quick. So I found these Japanese steel rotary cutting blades on Amazon. There's 15 of them in here, and they cost $16. So they're like $1 a blade, a little more than $1 for a rotary cutting blade. They're titanium coated. They're very strong steel. I read all the reviews and I thought, I'm going to try these. These are by Headley Tools. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you first how my rotary cutting blade is doing right now. I've got some things in front of me. I've got some, let's start with sort of a easy to cut French terry. So I'm just going to show you here. I'm just going to cut my French terry. And you can see that one worked pretty well on my blade. Now I'm going to go to this very, very fine interfacing, and I'm going to cut that. And you can see when I cut it, it didn't cut through, which I find kind of weird because it cut the heavier French terry, but it didn't cut my interfacing. And I have to like make recuts to get it to separate. And then I end up with all this yuckiness right here. This rotary cutting blade needs to be replaced because I cannot stand when I have to recut and recut to get it to separate nicely, especially when I'm working with interfacing, because it pulls and it becomes, just, it gets all these pulls in it. So this is a real Ofla replacement blade. Now we're going to check it with the new Headley Tools Japanese steel titanium coated rotary cutting blades. So this is kind of cool. I can show you how to replace your rotary blade while we're trying this out. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn my rotary cutter upside down, and I'm going to take the screw off, and I'm going to put it right here. Then I'm going to take the little washer off. I'm going to put it right next to it. Then I'm going to turn it around this way, and I'm going to take the plastic screw off, and I'm going to put it there. Now that reveals my blade. Some rotary cutters have this part comes off. This is an older Ofla where they were doing it sort of as a hinge. So just know that sometimes this piece does come off, sometimes it doesn't. But the whole idea here is you want to keep everything in order so you can put it back on properly. So my blade is here. So I'm just going to slide my blade off, and I'm going to open up my new pack of rotary cutting blades. Now the thing you want to be really careful with here is 2 things. Number 1, you don't want to cut yourself. These are very sharp. And number 2, they're oiled to keep them from getting rusty. So when you take one out, just make sure you're just taking one out. If you mistakenly put 2 rotary cutting blades on your rotary cutter without noticing, you're going to end up with this weird thing that when you cut your fabric, you end up with this like barely 1/16 of an inch ribbon of whatever you're cutting in addition to the cut edge, because both rotary blades are going to cut and there's a little space between them. So make sure you just have one. Okay, you can see there's oil on here, which I like the oil because I know it will keep the rotary cutting blades from getting rusty. Now I'm going to plop this right down, and I'm going to put my screw back in like that. Then I'm going to flip it around here, and I'm just going to put the washer and then screw the nut back on the plastic post of my rotary cutter. Now this could also pair as a two for a cool tool. I'm working on my Big Mat from the Big Mat Rotary Cutting Surface Company. I love their cutting mats. They're not self-healing and they stay nice for a long time. The reason why I'm mentioning that here in this tutorial is that if you have a big mat from the Big Mat Rotary Cutting Surface Company, you want to make sure that you don't tighten that blade down super tight. You want to leave it a little bit loose. So it's going to cut better on this PVC plastic cutting mat that's not self-healing. All right, so the first thing I'm going to go for is, let's check out the leather. I can tell you this is smooth as silk. This leather is 1/8 of an inch thick. It cut through that like butter. Let me show you again. Let me just bring it right in here. So I can get really, look at, ooh, really nice cut on the leather. Now let's try the French terry. I'm just wiggling the blade just to show you how nice it cuts. Look how nice that is. Here is the trick. Is it going to cut my super fine interfacing? Yes, it does. Look how nice that is. And then, I'm sure it'll do the silk as well. Yep, it does a beautiful job on the silk. My initial thoughts on this are, this blade is super sharp, and because it's made out of hard Japanese steel, my feeling on this is it's going to last at least as long as my genuine Olfa replacement blades last. But then again, usually I kill my blade before the sharpness wears out anyway. So for me, it's all about having a rotary cutter blade that I don't feel guilty about changing if I kill it 5 minutes after I, put it on. So just some tips for happy rotary cutting. When you're rotary cutting, make sure your surface is completely clear of any other objects like pins. These very skinny rulers can hide behind underneath fabric. And that way your blades are going to last longer. But I think I'm pretty pleased with this Headley Tools Japanese steel titanium coated rotary cutting blades. 15 of them for $16.95. I think that is a bargain. I'm putting a Amazon affiliate link in the description below if you'd like to check these out. All right, so what do I do with my old rotary cutting blades? You want to recycle these responsibly so no one gets cut. I draw an O on my case from a previous pack. O stands for old. And then I just stick them in, and when it's full, I bring them to my transfer station in town, the dump, and I get them recycled properly, because you really don't want anyone to get cut with these old blades. So putting them in the case of an old batch of rotary cutting blades is a perfect way to keep them safe until you recycle. If you have any questions or comments, please post those below and I will help you. If you're enjoying cool tools, please consider liking and subscribing to my channel because it helps me grow. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you again soon.